Hey Capricorns, and welcome to your February 2017 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky, and I'm here to give you guys hopefully an amazing reading for your month ahead. So I see you guys have kind of found yourself in a little bit of a predicament. It looks like you guys are kind of in a coping process to something, and you are picking up the pieces to something. I'm sorry, but it looks like you're kind of struggling, and hopefully I can convey some messages that will help you through some of these more difficult times. There are upsides, though, Capricorn, to your month for sure. You're going to have really distinct highs, really distinct lows. It's not going to be all bad, and it seems like anything that kind of falls through this month or doesn't go as you planned, it seems like it's has reason, and you're going to find something like equally as good as what you were wanting in the first place in the depths. So it's possible that someone from your past could be coming in, but it's a good thing. It's not really in a bad way. Maybe you're being more anxious about it than you need to be. You do have the energy of transition in your reading as well, like you're moving either locations or like really big changes are coming into your life. It's a reflective period of you, which kind of pulls you into a destructive headspace because maybe you're reflecting on too much. Maybe you're taking too much upon yourself when it comes to responsibility. There could be a bit of martyr energy coming in. But overall, I see you guys moving out of this. I see this being very temporary. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and look at your reading from week to week and see what specifically comes forward so that we can get a better grasp of what's going on. In the first week, you guys have the Tower rooted down by the Nine of Cups reversed. So it seems like somebody or even more than one person was not there for you in the way that they said they would be. It looks like you are struggling with the consequences of having over-relied on other people. Because people have relied on you like this before and you've come through, so you assumed it would be the same if you, for once, Capricorn, relied on people the way that they relied on you. And it seems like they're not there as much as you anticipated. It seems like they're not coming through. And it just is really discouraging for you because, you don't know how other people could not be there for you in the way that you were there for them, because you know that you would go to bat for them, but they're not going to bat for you. So you're coping with that right off the bat in February. There could be breakup energy as well. There's also single energy just in general. So I see a lot of Capricorns out there are currently single or have just come from a breakup, but I'll also talk about the reading for those of you who are coupled. I think that you guys are overextending yourself in the relationship field. It seems like you're doing too much, but not in the sense that you shouldn't be. It's like you're taking on all of the projects you should be, but you feel like you're doing too much and you don't feel like it's mutual. And don't be so quick to blame the other person, because I feel like they really established themselves as a bit less committed than you from the very beginning. So the shift that you've experienced where you're becoming more loyal, more committed to relationships, it's like that transformation has happened during this relationship or the one you just came from, and it ended up making the relationship incompatible. So it needed to end anyway. For those of you who are sad that the relationship ended or doing things to try to make the relationship continue, I think it's more supported to kind of let it fall through, because if you try to resist this Tower energy where things kind of come crashing down, it's going to be like the bigger they are, the harder they fall. So it's kind of inevitable at this point in time. But, it's all in good timing because you're in a place where you need to be rebuilding foundations anyway. Stepping into the second week, you have the Three of Pentacles reversed, rooted down by the Seven of Pentacles. So yeah, you're rebuilding the way that you react to people in the first place. Your social constructs, your relationship constructs, that's all going through really big transformation right now. And you've got to be present for that. Maybe having too much chatter from the outside or being overly committed to a relationship right now would hinder your ability to be so present for, the actual things that are happening within you. And when that happens, you do find yourself in the situation of the Tower because you kind of disassociate from your true needs as a person. So you start functioning at a more subconscious level, and you start kind of being without realizing it, more difficult towards other people. So it's important to step into a place where you're not dealing with so much chatter so that you can face what you actually are, right? And you might not really want to do that. You know, a lot of people don't want to do that because it says to me that when you finally face what you are, you're kind of not satisfied with what you see. You know, you're stepping into the third week with the 9 of Swords rooted down by Temperance reversed. So it's like what you see of yourself is someone who's actually a lot more nervous than you realize, who's a lot more fearful for the future. And you also see that there are a lot of things that are out of balance. This could just be the way that you talk to the people around you, the way that you talk to yourself. There's something about dialogue, but this could also be diet and exercise. Like your body systems might be a little bit out of balance too, like blood sugar and blood pressure. So once you finally take some time to look at yourself, you're not pleased with the results. So I feel like you're going to step into a place where you really start prioritizing your systems, whether that be your communication systems, your bodily systems, what have you, you know. But there's something about your systems that are out of balance right now, and it's important to take time to face that and to kind of put together a plan on how you can change that up a little bit, because there is action that's required in February, Capricorn, because you have the Tower, you have the Chariot. Those are your two, well, you have Temperance as well. Those are your 3 major arcana cards. Again, it's going to be a big month to remember because you have 3 or more in your reading. But you have to be action-oriented with the Chariot as your central theme. You have to be ready to, change things. You have to be ready to step into new ways of being and to do it quickly, okay? It seems like you guys have been preparing for something, or you've had this gut feeling that you're about to be put into a more demanding situation. Maybe a lot of you have actually been really prioritizing your health, taking a lot of vitamins, getting a lot more rest, and you don't feel that different. But at the same time, it's like you know that you're just preparing yourself for when things get more real, because maybe you guys have stepped back a little bit. Maybe there's actually kind of been a stasis. So that's why this Tower energy has been such a shock to your system, because you've been preparing to kind of fight a new battle. There might even be some Capricorns that are going to war or taking on something that's kind of like a war, that's going into battle, you know, maybe. And that can be applied to a lot of situations in life. So just know that that's your general archetype. You have stepped into, in February, Capricorn, the archetype of the warrior preparing for battle, which is really cool for you guys. And I'm proud for you guys because you guys have been so inwardly concerned lately. You've been so functioning at more of a subtle level. And it seems like that's actually coming to support you, because all that work that you've done and have been forced to do, even unwillingly to some extent, has prepared you for a situation when you won't have to do that much more, but you'll be so proud that you did when it actually comes around, which is really, makes me really happy. I see, because in your 4th week, Capricorn, you've got the 6 of Swords rooted down by the 6 of Cups. So wow, 2 6s together. That's, again, moving, transitory energy, the whole archetype of transition and change and just rapid change too. The 6 of Cups is more past oriented than the 6 of Swords. It's more reverting backwards, stepping backwards a little bit, looking at the past, looking at people from your past. This can even be moving in with people from your past, you know, with the 6 of Swords, especially because the 6 of Swords usually represents some kind of painful transition. It's it can sometimes be a leap of faith. It can sometimes be allowing other people to kind of direction you, and that can be good or bad. Beware of letting other people have too much influence over where you're at right now, over where you're going, because there could be old relationships that you honor that control too much where you're going. So just keep that in mind. You know, there could be a lot of you who are really fighting for your relationship right now. A lot of you who are really fighting for a marriage, really fighting to change something about yourself. And it's very commendable, Capricorn. It seems like you're just so over-exerted in resuming normalcy and kind of keeping up the status quo. But for some of you, it's just desperately trying to make a relationship work that's been struggling. And I think that this one last burst of energy that you're giving it is supported, is good, but it's going to be really important to take note if this doesn't work out and to not pull out so much of your life force again like this. Again, I think that you are doing something that's not yet been tested, so it's okay to go through with this in your relationship. It's okay to try one more time to really put a lot of your life force into it. However, if this doesn't work, you can't keep doing this. Like, you can't go on this way if you can't make some solid changes. And I don't know whether this is coming from your end or the other person's end. Obviously, you can't change other people, really. If you're completely motivated to like change something about yourself in hopes that it changes another person, that's a destructive energy right now, Capricorn. That's not very supported ever, really, because you have the Tower, which does talk about kind of destroying something within yourself, again, for the status quo, to resume normalcy. And it's kind of like delaying the Tower energy, and it will be more prevalent and more nasty when it comes through next time. So it might also be best just to embrace the Tower energy and allow something to die, allow something to end, allow a relationship to come to an end. But I understand if you feel that you still need to push for it, and it is still somewhat supported to try for a bit longer. But do know that after this major burst of energy, if things haven't really looked up, it will be very important that you do something that is more authentic to you and not for somebody else. Okay. Also, in the fourth week, I see you potentially just being with family more, or with people in your life that you consider family. I see you feeling happy with family, maybe traveling to see family. Maybe for those of you who are in long-distance relationships, you're finally getting to see this person again. Or some of you may actually enter into long-distance relationships. That is an archetype that is coming forward for you guys. It seems like people that are further away from you right now are more drawn to you than the people that are around. There's something about the people that are around you in physical form that are kind of not so interested right now, but you're really pulling in people from distance. So I think that you guys need to also have a clear conscience right now. And what I mean by that is you need to not be like drinking too much. You need to not be doing things that blur your consciousness, because you do have the Chariot as your central energy and you have the Tower. So definitely don't be drinking and driving or anything like that, because that's a little bit of accident indication type of energy. That's a little bit of like, don't be distracted, like texting and driving. Watch for the detour signs on the road. I don't see any other archetypes in here that are very accident prone other than the Chariot and the Tower. The Nine of Swords kind of pushes that a little bit further, because I see a lot of you, more so than being like drunk and driving, I see a lot of you just like thinking about too much at once, like really obsessing over something and not paying attention. Whether you're driving, whether you're operating some kind of heavy machinery for work, whatever it is, it's important to kind of like save your tears for your pillow, or to make sure that you're in a safe, secluded, like non-reactive environment when you're really upset and obsessing over things, like maybe make time and space for the Nine of Swords energy rather than doing that during work, while you're driving, stuff like that. It's just a good pointer for now, because you're not a very good multitasker this month. It seems like you really have to be focused on one thing at a time and be taking things slowly, because, we're at a place for everybody, not just Capricorn, where we're waning, where we're pulling back, where we're letting our energies, diminish, because we're coming towards the end of the astrological year. As we go through Aquarius and Pisces, then we'll go into Aries and Taurus and have a lot more energy. But there's a lot of pressure with it being the new year, with it being January and February, to be like a lot more busy, but that's actually not authentic to the solar astrological year span. Now is still a time of pulling back at the planetary and galactic level. So do remember that, and don't overextend yourself. Don't overbook yourself, because you'll be able to do that more in March and April. But again, now is the time of being focused on one thing at a time, taking it a little bit slowly, because you'll be surprised at how you actually get things a lot quicker than if you were trying to juggle it all at the same time. You're being a lot slower, Capricorn, when you're trying to do your work and you're worrying about something and you're like thinking about what you need from the store. Like, you're accomplishing things much slower. If you can just focus on one task at a time, you'll be surprised with how much more free time you actually have. It seems like you need to multitask, but you actually don't need to. It's not so supported right now because there's a lot that you're dealing with. Again, like the past trauma, reflecting on that, accepting that people aren't there for you in the way that you are for them, and maybe even a physical move along with your work, along with maybe even feeling like you have to help other people through their traumas. You've got a lot on your plate this month, Capricorn. So maybe make a list and decide when and what you're going to focus 100% of your energy on, rather than, having 20% of your energy here, 50% there, 10% there, 9% here, 30%, you know what I mean? Because that's how y'all are always functioning, You're a cardinal sign, so you struggle a little bit with that actually, but Capricorns make themselves out to be really good multitaskers, but it's really not the nature of your sign actually. So yeah, you guys just need to pull back a little bit, work on where your energy lies, work on not being overcommitted to people who wouldn't be there for you in your time of need, and just do accept that you can be victorious this month. You have the Chariot, again, as your underlying energy, your central theme, and the main keyword for the Chariot is victory. So for those of you who are fighting battles, who are going through something difficult, regardless of whether that be a physical or mental or health battle, you will be victorious. So this has been a great reading. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. I have an Instagram now. If you want to follow me, it is in the description box below. I'll be doing daily draws and weekly draws or spiritually themed things in general. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I would so appreciate it if you would, because March is going to be a huge month, more than just general readings coming. And you can also book a private reading with me. It should be popping up right in the center of the screen right now. I hope you guys will get the chance to like, comment, and again, subscribe to my channel. And I hope your February is great, Capricorns. I will talk to you next month. Bye.